Has anyone of you has experience on game development? Please type na lang. Type in the chat if you have or have one or none. Yeah, just interact guys. Madaldal ako sa chat. Sige, sige. So, I assume na at least meron tayong some knowledge about game development. But this presentation, we will cover more on the concepts and some simple codes on how to build the on-chain game. And the on-chain game that we are building right now is a coin collector, which is technically like a hello world in traditional softwares. And that's how we build a very, very simple game to interact with the game engine, which is mod. So, wala palang control dito. So, dito pala controls ko. Okay. So, a little bit about me. So, I'm currently a student at Adamson University. I am also an illustrator and a game development intern here at the block. And I am also a junior product engineer at Gada Career, which is an ed tech company. So, what we will talking today or for this hour. So, this is an overview of the topics. Our goal is to introduce you on how Web2 gaming and Web3 gaming uh, is currently now. And we will cover more on the autonomous words, which is mod is built into. Then we will deep, not really a deep dive, more but more like a surface level on how to use a mode game engine that is built by Lattice. And later in the Q&A, let's spark some curiosities on how the game development industry work on the Web 2 and Web 3. So, for you, what are games? Sige nga, chat in your own explanation for you, what is a game? Kasi for me, is games are something to play. And that play is something that we had fun to do and it's engaging. So in more uh ops, in a more formal definition of games, uh games are a structured play or activity that's taken freely for their own enjoyment or entertainment. So from that concept, in the initial concept of the games, they're basically built for fun, entertainment. So this will be we will be on the hot seat later regarding to the decentralized gaming in the next chapter. so so what's a structure play? So every game has bare goals and mechanics and complex story and rules and many more. So basically that builds the formal and dramatic elements of the game, which forms the entire structure on how we build the entire game. And based on those objectives or their core mechanics, we certainly categorize them since they have very similar, very similar properties on ano, uh, each capabilities. So that's we have a game genre. So which among this genre you usually play? Chat. Which among this genre you always play? Pick one. Chat in the box. Because for me, I'm more like a rent gamer. So more on rent games, which is like Citus 2, Prosekai, Maymay, yung nakikita nyo in the arcade games sa Time Zone. And a really lot more, like also, if you're familiar with that. So, with regard to this, there are specific uh, goals and objectives that are built like a semi-formal structure on these game genres, like on adventure. What do you expect when you hear adventure? What do you expect when you hear a mobile game? So there are a lot of meanings to that. But is entertainment is the core, like a core goal or the ultimate goal of the games? Of course not, because sometimes we build games that more than just fun, and that's we have these two, a serious game and a gamification. Now, I will ask you, which one is a game and which one is not? Which one is a game and which one is not? So yeah, we'll discuss it na lang. So, what are the core differences between Minecraft Education and Adowilingo? So, Minecraft Education is a serious game. And what do we mean by a serious game? So, Minecraft education games are an education game that built on top of Minecraft. So, why is it a serious game? So, these games are designed primarily for the more than just an just an entertainment. So, they have a fun at its core, but also they also teach some education, like in Minecraft education, like buildings, architecture, mining, and some other familiar games like Microsoft Flight Simulator, which they teach pilots. But core of that game is still fun, making fun. And some other serious games is built to change the behavior of the person. So I think uh, sometimes they just to teach a particular some concepts then. So they still a full pledge using the game mechanics and the gameplay. So they are game first by design. And how about a Duolingo? Duolingo is not a game, but it uses game elements like yung leaderboards and yung mga daily missions that usually found in games. But their goal is not to ano their context of having fun is to to give you fun on the learning process of learning the language. And it's a learning first by design. So they ba teach you a language. So and using that game to make you more engaged to that activity. So basically it's an educational app, not a game. So going back to my controls. Yan. But the games itself has many philosophies under it. So, at kaya you see, meron dito mga kung gamers, if you are hardcore gamers, some of these names may be familiar to you, like Sigmers, one of the creators na of the most well-known grand strategy games, which is the Civilization games. So what about the philosophy of the games? The philosophy of the games is it's how do we define which one is a game, and how do we define what are the characteristics of that game. So with these philosophies, they come up into uh I think that is four core
Sorry ulit,
principles.
Rian. Nasa ano ka pa din na slide, yung
Yeah.
MCLU?
Ay, not ano pa.
Okay.
Yan. Inaarot ko kasi yung inaarot ko pa yung controls. So yeah, there are four characteristics that makes a game. So first of all, uh, games are built are structures
Nope.
for interaction.
Nope. Nope.
Hello? Later, I will answer some Q&As. So, games are structured for interaction. So, games must exist as a medium for an activity to have an interaction. So, between the players in the game, they have they must have a medium. Then, games are activities of inefficient means. So, when they have the goal, there always be a challenges or conflicts that they must face to prevent them achieving goals quickly because having challenges uh, gives them uh, s- some fun to complete that and more meaning in completing that objectives. Then games require an agreement from the players. So this is more on the magic circle that we will talk about later. So all games require at least one player playing that. So that we have they will enter the agreement where they have enter enter with the agreement with the game so that they will obey the rules, its rules, and the new meaning and the new morality and new expectation within that game. So, and the last one, games contain unequal, uncertain, and separate outcomes. So, what do we mean by this? So, there will always be winners and losers. So, it's not always you will always win in the game. Sometimes you will lose then, and the outcome of the game is not known until you finish that game. So, uh, with it in the context of separate outcomes, it's where its context of that content separates us on what is within the game world and separate from the real world. So look, let's go to game design. So yeah, core loop. Core loop is basically what builds our game. Like what is the core mechanics of the game, how the gameplay plays. So it's a showcase yung high level interaction the play has with the game and how it moves through the game. So there are generally useful use case on that. So it is the main pinaka-main activity like basically on the given sample in Pokemon Go. The core loop there is you have to explore and the map or the place we are going, then sometimes you will encounter a Pokemon and your first intention to do that is to capture it. And you have to collect it, level up, and upgrade those Pokemon. It will repeat multiple times. Basically, that's the main activity of the game. So if the every time you play the game, that loops, and that's the activity you will usually do when you play a game. So next slide. So event loop. This is something na we give details on that loop. So it showcase ano yung features natin do sa game and how do we like model it. So to give you a explanation. So it explains a single feature or event in detail. So the mental model, let's say we have to open a door. So based on our mental model, the closed door needs to open using a switch. So our action is to look for the switch. But based on the rules, switch can only open for 5 seconds. That's a rule of the game. So we didn't notice that. So the door that we open immediately closes kasi we are too slow and that give us a feedback to our mental model. Then we rewire the mental model that we have. So we know that the switch closes so fast because it only take 5 seconds and we're too slow. So what will be our next action to that? Of course, we run faster when open the switch and we comply with those rules, and based on our feedback na we manage to go through that door because we go fast, and that establish our new mental model. So next slide. Then the meta loop. So basically this is the progression system. So what are the long-term goals of the player when they play that core loop or the event loop? Like what is the meaning of those actions that we'll do? And that's it. So more on the progression, like leveling up systems, improving skills, upgrading your items or upgrading your Pokemons. That is part of the meta loop, which is basically a progression system. So next slide. So here we will talk about the magic circle, which is the core definition for having a good player experience. So have you ever played a game that like you have to you made a grind a lot, you grind a lot on it, you collect all the resources that you need to play some levels until you manage to get into the boss, and there are a lot of times you try different many things, many mechanics like shield breaking, or maybe can be ano din, baka mas bagay dito yung true damage, or baka mas bagay dito yung critical damage until you achieve that boss. Then the game just like give you a narrative on the background of the boss, and like give you a cutscene on what you have achieved in defeating this boss. Then you stop when you go out from gaming, and like you walk outside or to some shower, you remember that scene that the game gives you, like what you have experienced in that game also applies in you in real life. Like in my own experience, like there's merong game that I played, like questions my life decisions. And have you experienced like that familiar game? Na-experience niyo na ba yun? Like meron kayong nalarong game, and even out kahit tinigil mo lang game, naalala mo pa rin yung larong yun dahil meron siyang lessons na tinuro sa'yo. So yeah. So basically that's the magic circle. So magic circles basically define the rules with the boundary between the real world and the game world. So in the outside, you have the parang hakaka, like yung meron kang problem na kinakarap or may takot ka. Merong uncertainty na mayayari in the future and responsibility sa kailangan mong gawin. Pero once you enter that magic circle, you forgot all of those. You immerse yourself in the game. So in that immersion, you have a new definition in that game world. You are the MC. You have you are the star of the show of that game. So what you will take out from those game are yung experience na nangyari sa'yo within the game. Ano yung natutunan mo within the game? Ano yung new meaning of life na binigay sa'yo within that game? So that's makes up the player experience, and one of the core features na dapat should exist in the games. So like I said, outside of the game, yung modern horse, it doesn't have a meaning. It's just a wooden na hugis horse. But when you play a chess, you enter the game world, you enter the magic circle. It changes your perspective. Now that horse is a piece of your army. It has a specific rule that that can move like a T or L, and you have to use it to defeat your enemies. So what can you on chess? Like how can you use the lessons from chess in real life? That's like what's experience you have within the chess that you could take up in real life. So that's how we engage with the game. So next slide. But not all games are meant to give a good experience. Sometimes they're just built to monetize you, to lure you, and sometimes like make you a fool. And that's part of the dark pattern. So some of those dark pattern is like making you addicted because of that dopamine it gives, like a visual thing or something rewards that gives you keep playing that even though it has no meaning to play it. Like when you play a hyper casual game, it's full of ads. Why do you keep playing it? We naas niyo ba 'yon sa sarili niyo? Like ano meaning na bibigay niyon sa inyo when you play hyper games full of ads? Sometimes we don't know. Eh para sa atin parang na-addict lang tayo doon sa dopamine na ginigibig nila, just like gambling. That is part of the dark pattern. So next slide. And the most cancer of them all is pay to win. Yeah, that's part talaga ng dark pattern. They just make you addicted even though it has no meaning or just like full of ads. Sometimes pinapanood mo na lang yung ads. But yeah, we don't know why. Because they like to hack within our games, within our minds. They want to hack it. So one of those is the most cancerous of all and sometimes the most dangerous is pay to win. Because the dopamine that gives is because when you pay a game to give you unfair advantage over those who cannot pay, you will feel some urge of superiority among those who do not, among those who are free to play. Pero technically hindi siya like technically it's not illegal. It's very legal. There's no uh it will go you to jail, but it's just unethical lang. So anything that gives unfair advantage to the game, it makes them unbalanced. So para siyang if you know how, just like a real world, uh the rich gets richer, the poor gets poorer. So basically that's how pay to win also works. So because of pay to win, you you give yourself an advantage over who don't. So you can finish the game more easily. But to those who do not, they are on they're nasa disadvantage sila. So two of the prime examples that is next slide. Yan, EA. If you think of all dark pattern you could combine in one game, that's EA. Unlock this game for $2. And Axie Infinity is most tutorials of that because you have to pay. And based on those earnings, you have to then have someone before you to para ma-inflate yung presyo. Kung tatanungin ko kayo, like, ano yung dito yung mas gusto yung laruin? Yung EA na puro ads or yung at its peak? Yeah, depende sa motivation ng player yan. Yeah. Kung gusto mo lang maging fun game, pero although EA is a fun game, pero yeah, medyo disastrous lang yung monetization nila techniques and that also dreadful pero wala kang kikita yung pera yun lang pero you enjoy the fun. That's opposite with the Axie. Because Axie, although hindi fun yung game, but you earn naman some. So that begs the question if Axie is still a game or just a gamification of a DeFi. So next slide. Then tapos na tayo sa game design. Let's go for the game programming side. So I will discuss here like core concept on what are the design patterns usually used in making a game. We will see it once we go in the coding side pagdating sa mod. You will see it. So first slide tuloy. Next slide. Yeah. Kung mayroong game loop sa game design, meron din game loop within sa programming side. So basically, we'll program those game loop. So game loops is like a while loop lang na infinite until you close the game or there are some conditions you want to close it. So, but we will be using Phaser on the mod game. So in Phaser, there are few components that we to take note here. First is init. What it does do is initialize all the necessary things like kung uh, do you have a state you want to like reset, that's where all it goes. Then preload for all the assets we want to load so that it can be rendered. Then create handles all the logic of the game. Logic, and that includes yung animations ng game. And within this box, that's automatic na. This is automatically given by Pacer. So the update and render function. Render is for the graphics and update is for handling the game logic. It all happens within a one frame. It all happens within a one frame. So if we want to 60 FPS, so it will start from init to shut the to render 60 times per second. So that's how game loop works. Pero within the Pacer, it's all abstract na. So we have to represent it as a game state in Pacer. So game state there is like a screen lang that has an automatic update and render. So we don't have to worry to implementing all of it except for preload and create. That's have preload and create has to do something na manual. Kailangan tayo mag-declare niyan. Kasi that makes our game. So next slide. Then we have the state. So if you're familiar on the automata theory in computer subject, and what you're seeing right now is a finite state machine. So basically, standing, ducking, jumping, and diving are all states, and we sometimes mutate based on the predefined condition that we uh, give. So we will encounter this pagdating sa mod part. So uh, bi- so let's say pinaka-simple dito is yung sa player controls. When you press W, from idle, it will go to move up. And in this example, when you press down, it should be ducking. So dapat yung animation din niya is magiging duck. So saan ba ginagamit madalas yung finite state machine or yung state pattern kumbaga. So state pattern is usually used when you want to have a finite set of predefined states. Then we have some inputs or conditions. So like kung animations sa Pacer, kung we have to have like a state on our animation, we have to use this. Kasi this example uh, is like an animation then. So we can attach some codes then kung related to it. So another use case din ng state pattern is for game AI. But game AI can also get complicated in some point. But basically they are just finite state machine lang then. So Next slide. Components. So this is the like a core architecture pattern within games. So in the example on the left side, yung black box na yan, in that black box, uh, player is just a container components. And each components that you see in that list is just a specific function, specific mechanics that it has on the game. So let's say for example the transform, it only handles its location, its rotation, and uh, its scale, and many more. And we have here the rigid body which handles the collision of the game. And meron din tayong ditong, yeah, here, player inventory, which is basically it's a call on how do we handle the inventory of that player. Basically, so components are agnostic on which entity. So you can use that inventory into an enemy. You can have those. So they basically just have to program it like a plug and play. So and entities just take it of it. It's just a container. So the player in there, just a name lang din para ma-identify niya. Pero entities is usually identified as an ID, numeric ID. Because we may have a multiple players. So may player 1, player 2, player 3. How do we differentiate them? We use IDs, numeric IDs that are uniquely from them. Then systems is something that interacts with the components. So when you say P6, uh, P6 is something when you do platformer, it goes up and down. And how that where that components interact is within the gravity system or gravity system. And we when we do like special effects, that's also a component. And we use that special effects to have to run it on the rendering system. So that's just like a one-on-one on the entity component systems. Next slide. Observer. This is the last one. So in many games, we handle a lot of events, whether it's a movement event, achievement event, enemy kill event, and sometimes you have to use inside communication system on how they will talk to each other. So when you go back to components, how do we know that the player is on the ground? Or how do we know if the player is attack an enemy? We use this observer or an event queue. So when you look at this in the left side, you have these cameramans. So they are waiting for some events that will happen with that entity, and they will all process together when they see something. So in the here in the bottom, we have here an example. Within the game, a player do some achievements, and we call it through at malalaman siya ng achievement systems natin. So it will reflect on the render and we'll have a pop-up on the screen. So let's talk about decentralized gaming. So when we discussed before yung Magic Circles, basically game designs rather and game developers want to have a strict control on how they will define the experience of the players. And that's very common then when it comes to RPGs and story-driven titles. So there is a conflict then when it comes to decentralized gaming because the principles of decentralized gaming is about we when we go to next slide. So it's about the distributing the power, distributing the control. So we are empowering the players to have a contribution within that game. So that's the core idea of decentralization, which conflicts on some of the game genres that we know pagdating sa traditional gaming. Ah, kaya marami din sabi na they won't give up some controls on it because they want to have a single creative vision within that game or single vision uh, that will lead the players on what they want to experience then. But this decentralized game has some ideas then on what do they mean. So next slide. And we hear this ano then, these terms or narratives almost when we look upon the resources about decentralized gaming. It's all about ownership, transparency, security, and interoperability. And in fact, not all game genres are fitted on these uh, principles. One of which is ownership. Uh, I have a rent game that I always play, which is Pro Sekai. And the songs there, medyo bibitin sa oras. So, the songs there like owned by the creators and those creators give permission to the game to have us play it. So, it gives the issue pagdating sa IP and copyrights on how do we own that song that we play. But other solution says that we can own the ano then, the access or own the NFTs on by storing our achievements there like in scoring or something. Then transparency. There are some games that they want the players to be ano then like an fog of war. They want to ano then hide some information to the player so that they won't know what will happen in the future because based on the characteristics of the game, they want the player to know its outcome once they finish that game. But security has some applications then that uh, traditional and Web3 nagkakasundo, which is yung application of blockchain system when it comes to anti-cheating. And pagdating sa interoperability, this is issue then pagdating din sa IPs because uh, each game developers have to collaborate on the what items they have to use and make some balances on that if we want the items just more than cosmetics. So when player adds something from the NFT from other games, they have to rebalance the whole game, which makes them parang ayaw na lang din mag ano din adapt pagdating sa Web3. But mo that's something some ideas on that. So next slide. Next slide po. But before that, there's many layers of or many types of decentralized games. And this is not in order but just a classification lang. So for the real-time games, ang pinaka-popular approach dyan is yung hybrid on-chain games. So that includes yung off-the-chain. And we have NFT-based games which is CryptoKitties, Metaverse Gaming which is the Sandbox and Decentraland, and GameFi, Axie, and Play to Earn. And the main topic of this talk, fully on-chain games or the autonomous worlds. So next slide. So yeah, this is the root of the fully autonomous game. So for Gabship, he thinks that the true value of the blockchain game is not about financialization or play to earn models. So this is about all the GameFi models. But he has an idea on how do we apply those four principles of decentralization within that game using by making the game run entirely on the contract or the smart contract in the blockchain. So next slide. So, based on me, this is what defines a fully on-chain game. So, first of all, the entire game data is within the blockchain, the source of truth. So, any state that we can see on that game is we can see that on the blockchain. And every game logic and game rules are defined by a smart contract. So, yung mga games dito kailangan ano din, maging comply with the open ecosystem principles. And this game must be client agnostic. So, meaning to say, uh, yung game mo, wala siyang backend. Yung backend mo is the blockchain and all you have to do is just have an interface like a browser. Kung ano man gagamitin mo dyan, like Vue, React, or Next.js, it doesn't care. So, if you want to have an access on an Android game, it's possible. Just access that contract within the blockchain. And that's the whole idea of fully on-chain games. So, this game has to embrace real-world value on its digital assets to public din yan sa NFTs. So, next slide. So, what are those autonomous words? So, entities niya and yung rules niya and enforced by the blockchain, makikita siya sa smart contract na i-deploy. And it kinda makes the magic circle like a semi-porous, like transparent. So, like there are just like hindi na siya parang hard boundary between the real and the game world. So, next slide. Sorry kung medyo binibilisan kasi baka matagalan. So, ito naman sa next frontier. So, by having game state or logic on chain, we have a real economic stake that players will attach. They will be more attached on additional significance to their on-chain game actions, and they will experience deeper levels of immersion and experience unbound in the game. Then, by allowing this is more on the modding part because it allows players without permission to mod that game. So they have not they there's no need for them to ask permission to mod that game. They just have to connect with that contract and apply and improve that contract. So everything the mode they added to the word will be broadcast on all the client that is connected to it. So it makes the whole word, the whole game word more permanent in the blockchain. So every changes there will be permanently nandoon na siya. So next slide. Wait, hindi ko makikita yung zoom ko. So yeah, ito yung ano niya, parang diagram. So sa contract niya meron tayo ditong word contracts that includes the game state, yung logic niya, and ano ba yung state ng word na yon. And Sovereign. Yeah, narinig ko to sa Sovereign. Pero medyo nakukulaan lang din ako sa information kaya naghanap din ako sa ibang resources. Then, next slide. And this is the currently na, dito current, medyo luma na to, na ecosystem ng on-chain gaming. So, we have here the mod na which is still gamitin natin. And there are games that they're built using mod, which is yung OptiCraft and Sky Strike. So, next slide. So yeah, I will share na. I will show you the documentation na mod. Pero di ko na to i-code along na kasi medyo overtime na tayo. So, dito siya makikita. And there are some requisites lang tayo pwedeng gamitin. Which is ito. We have specifically Node JS20, not more than, not less than. We have the Git, the Foundry, we have to install it because we will be using the Anvil, which simulates the blockchain within our local system. And PNPM, but we also have to add yung yarn then. That's because of their art pipeline within the Pacer. So, pag we do the PNPM mod, I think that's mod install. Yeah, mod, create mod pala. Create mod, latest, sample. Pero kakancel ko lang to. Oops, nag-run siya. So yeah, pag we use that command and we will see a choices there like a Pacer, React EJS, 3JS or vanilla. But we will use the React, the Pacer one. Yung Pacer template is basically, ito lang siya. Wala tayong binago dyan o dinagdag. Nag-edit lang tayo dito ng files. So we will start here at the game game system. Basically, ito din yung system eh, na contract kung saan we will define the system in the world. But here, we must first take the states muna. So we have here the table. This table is basically lang din, similar lang din kung paano ito ginagawa yung table sa SQLite or typical databases. We have here the player column X and Y, and we have the rows there, which is yung address, yung position nila, and kung existing ba to pagtitingin din sa position. Then once you define that, all you have to do is that go to contracts and generate the tables. So when you done that, medyo matagal kasi ito pag niran eh. You will have here the tables. These tables are auto-generated contracts na. So you don't have to worry on coding it from scratch. The mod will handle it for you. Then when we go to game soul, we can call it na. Ito basta ito muna. Ito muna ang unang gagawin. Then mod table gen, mag-generate kayo ng tables para lumabas to. And itong index all and itong enumerations. Then pagdating dito sa game system, pwede na siya ipasok yung mga define yung states. Medyo mabagal ba sa Zoom? Mabagal siya sa Zoom? Oh no. Anyway, sana sa video hindi para makita nyo. Sana sa video hindi siya lag. So yeah. After you define the system, all you have to do now is to generate the word. We can do that PNPM, then mod, tapos word gen na. Then yung word gen is we will generate this word contracts, which is yung game system and the word game system. And we can use it na sa mga codes natin pagdating din sa client. So when we use client, we use Pacer. Pacer is basically a game engine then. But for mod, they modified it to use it as a client only. So all the in-game logic will be handled on the blockchain, but Pacer will just render it. So punta tayo sa client. I think this is the client. Yeah. Here. We have three ano dito na nagde-define din ng game loops, which is yung enter system, define system, and exit system. Define enter system is something entities that we define that we enter a query. Then define system is all about the whenever we update that query. Then define exit system is something we run when we after we exit that query. Pero wala tayong ginamit sa define exits ngayon because we just want to collect some coins. So here we do the same logic that we do in the game system Solidity contract, but here on TypeScript na kasi we have to handle the inputs. So here, makikita nyo dito, meron tayo dito object pool in inputs. And we have here the subscriber na mag-handle sa every left mouse click natin pagdating sa game para mag-spawn yung player. So here we handle the inputs. And here we define the entities. Which is we have the player position, the coin position. Yeah. Anything that we then na we define within the word, it has to be within this lang then define enter functions. Just have to give it here the word contract, the query, then yung system function na gagamitin. Basically yung entity lang. And pagdating dito sa coin position, we just have another lang din if condition kung yung coins na yun ay nakuha or not. Sorry kung medyo rush kasi ano lang din. Medyo nakukulangan lang dito sa oras, but we can have some more in-depth about mod. We can have it naman. So we will go on the art pipeline. So pagdating sa art pipeline nila, they have own self-built na. So you don't have to set up on yourself. Unless you want some customization, that's up to you. So I have some tinkering lang din pagdating sa package JSON because on their template, they used yarn pero di nila na-define yung package manager na dapat yarn yung gagamitin. So that's why we need some yarn din para ma-run yung command nila na para mag-auto-generate yung mga mga config files na gagamitin natin when we render the sprites, which is yung yarn generate multi-atlas sprites. This will generate the JSON files that we need when we call it in Pacer to have it rendered. Then once we run that command, what we will do now is export it. I think this is just a command lang. PNP mod export. Export, yeah. Export lang pala. Ayun, export lang pala to kasi yan pala gamit dito. Yeah, I think that's just lang din, undocumented stuff na hindi nila nalagay sa GitHub nila. Just take it off that. Na yan ang gamit nila pagdating sa art pipeline. So yeah, once done na yung export, pwede natin siya gamitin ulit sa pagdating sa render. So babalik tayo doon sa pagbabind na. Babind na natin siya into Pacer client. So saan natin siya binabind? Kung familiar kayo sa paggawa ng web games using Pacer, you know how to configure it. But here, I will show it na lang. Sana hindi to lag sa dyan. Basically here, we define here the animations that we will use. And kung saan mo locate yung assets na yon. And itong frame, makikita to sa JSON file kung anong path nila. Be sure lang na to double check it. Baka nagkukulang kayo. Ayan, makikita siya dito. Sprite, coins. Just double check it lang. Baka, meron nag-generate lang siya ng another directory within that folder. And you have to be careful on that. Kasi once na hindi siya ma-recognize, it will not render. Now, we have to bind na yung blockchain and yung Pacer client. So, you have to define first ano yung mga constants na ginamit natin within that contract and sa phaser na gagamitin natin, which is yung scenes, maps, animations. Ito sa ano na to, sa art pipeline to. And directions, ito yung enum na define natin doon sa contract, yung enums, ito. Up, down, left, and right for the controls. Then we will go on the ano na, sa system calls nila, which is within this folder sa mod, system calls. Ito, makikita to sa ano, ito yung mga kipag-usap doon sa contract, which is itong spawn, move, generate, and generate coins. Saan siya makikita? Dito siya sa may contracts. Contracts, sa may, ito yung may, ano na, code generated codes na to eh. SRC, CodeGen, and I think this is on Word, game system, here. Ito yung mga external functions na nararan nila, which is yung generate coins, spawn and move. Ito yung call natin within the phaser sa system calls dito sa within mod directory. And we just to ano lang din, return it, yung tatlong yun, para magamit din natin siya. So, saan ba natin siya gagamitin siya? Sa pag-register natin ng mga systems. So, where do we register that? Here. Yung layer, ito yan, yung game system layer na to. Yeah, here. Then, we registered it, yung camera system, map system, yung game system na ginawa natin. Yung game system is just similar lang din kung ano yung dinapay natin sa contract. And after that, you have to deploy this. And pagdating sa deploy, you can choose any chain you want. You only need the RPC link in the chain ID like you usually do and the apps. So here, I just used Anvil lang. I will just use Anvil. Let me go to the root directory and just do PNP random. Kasi this is already, ano na, nagawa ko na siya dati. And take some patience kasi medyo mabagal. Yeah, it's already deployed. Now, let's see. Saan ako ba nilagay yun? I think ito. Yeah, here. So, let me open lang yung ano nila. And let's try to spawn the player. Yan, makikita na siya dyan. Ayan, makikita natin yung coins na generate natin. Pero yung pagdating kasi sa contracts, nilagay ko lang siya ng specific ordinates. Pero dapat kasi random yun. Para maging more fun siya. But, let's try have yung multiplayer features niya. Basically, we don't have to code na pagdating sa multiplayers because this is by default a multiplayer game. What we need to do lang then is to run another client. PM dev client. Oops. O pala. Use 20. Clear. PM dev and client. Yeah. 302. Let's check this out. Let's have here another tab. Tabi natin silang dalawa. Oops, naharangan siya. Asa yung coins? Di ko na makita. Okay kasi. Kasi sabi no, localhost 302. Nandito yung coins. Asan ka? Tapin natin yan. Di ko lang kasi ma-scroll eh. Scroll ba to? Ba. Ayun na pala siya. Yan yung isa nating client. Then yung isa, laki lang din natin. Kailangan natin. Siya may collect ng coin. Pasensya na kung medyo mabagal siya kasi mabagal lang system ko. Mag-run ng local blockchain. Let's submit. Collect one. Then, kukolect natin yung isa. Ito ba yun? Yeah. Yeah, collect that.
Anything else. So in order to download your document as a PDF, you'll start off by coming over to the upper right-hand corner.
Yeah. That's it. We have a fully multiplayer game na built on fully on-chain. So, going back to the presentation. Stop share ko lang to. Okay na to? Kitang-kita nyo? Back to move. Yeah. So, kasi ako marami ako na-skip dito, but sige. Next slide, next slide. Let's go to the ano na. Next, next. 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 So, yan, na-demo ko na rin siya. Yan. So, any question, guys? Sorry kung medyo, ano lang din, medyo pa-happy lang nandiyan nangyari because of time. But, and, pagtiting sa Zoom, I don't know kung nakita nyo siya without a lag. Sana makita nyo din siya. So, how was it? Yeah, thank you, thank you. Pero nakita nyo yung ano, yung demo? Kasi I can see it on Zoom eh. Yeah, okay. So yeah, so yung key takeaway doon is basically you don't have to code for the multiplayer. It's already built in na. Yun, just focus on building the game logic na. And that's how it is, it is. It is. Yeah, thank you. That's all for me po. Any questions po?